Okay, we're gonna go ahead and begin recording. If any of you have questions, feel free to unmute yourself and speak it out loud. Thank you for coming to today's session. My name is Sabrina McGowan-Palashik, and I oversee the Student Enrichment Center. The Student Enrichment Center is actually a department that was formed about a year ago. So some of you who may have been here before remember the track center, which used to be under the academic advising office. I like to tell people we had a little breakup, but it was an amicable breakup, right? So the transfer part stayed under the advising department, and the career services portion of it went under the Student Enrichment Center, along with experiential learning. So today we're going to talk a little bit about both career services, what we have to offer, as well as how we can help you in the classroom, right? How we can help faculty. So here are our two learning objectives for today. So by the end of the session, you'll be able to understand what the Student Enrichment Services Office does and provide examples. And then you'll also identify new tools for implementing any sort of career competencies into your classroom if you are not already. But as we go throughout the presentation, you're going to notice that a lot of the heavy work we're already doing on campus, right? So the Student Enrichment Center, our moonshot goal, what myself and the individuals on my department do, the work that we do on campus, right? Our ultimate goal is to make an impact on students, to make a transformational impact on students. So we understand that students who are ready, who have career readiness, can be successful post-graduation, right? Individuals who are going directly into the workforce, right? We want to make sure that as they're going into the workforce, they have not only the technical skills that they're learning in the classroom, but the personal skills to be successful. And then those who are transferring, we don't ignore them either, because it's important as they're transferring into the four-year university. There's going to be a lot of those personal skills that is going to be very important, and that's going to help make them successful so that they can reach their end goal of graduation, of completing a baccalaureate degree. And we know that eventually they're going to go into the workforce as well, right? And so how do we do that? How do we reach our moonshot goal? And the way that we do it is we offer services, we offer programming, and we offer events that are geared towards career services and experiential learning. And we form partnerships on campus through the academic department side with our program coordinators and our faculty, partnerships with our student success side in the form of relationships with academic advising and enrollment services, and then also partnerships off campus, right? Because we want to help develop our community and help build the workforce. So we want to get involved with our community partners, the nonprofits, the organizations that are going to eventually be hiring our students within the community. And so I'm going to do a shameless plug, right? I'm going to talk a little bit about what we do, and then we're going to go into career competencies and how we all tie together in college relevant. So we offer one-on-one sessions for students in career services, anything from career exploration. We have students who are coming into college for the first time who are unsure of what they want to do, what career pathway they want to go into, and what they want to major in. And so we're not here to make the decision for the student. We make that very clear. We're here to have a conversation, right? We're here to help guide them through that critical thinking, right? Through critical thinking. The great thing about this is that not only are these sessions open to current students, but we offer this to alumni and to prospective students. Also, resume and cover letter review. The Writing Center does amazing at helping students build a resume from the foundation, right? Someone who maybe has never drawn up a resume. And what we do in our career one sessions is we help review that so that we ensure that the resume and the cover letter is closely connected to the job that they're applying for. We highly promote that students have a master resume where it's sort of where they keep everything on it, but then tailor their resume to the career pathway or to the specific job or internship that they're applying to. We also help with job and internship search assistance. We started a new initiative this past year on our Facebook page. So if you like us on Facebook, you'll be able to see it. But we love highlighting the students who have come in for a career session and who have received a position, who have gone in a position. And so our goal is to help. We know a lot of CTE programs, a lot of technical programs require a practicum or an internship in their classroom. So we want to connect with you to see how we can help students in your programs get into the internship programs. We actually have a great program called Alamo on the Jobs that the district oversees that I'm going to talk about a little bit later. And then interview prep, right? This is one of the things that the student is the most fearful of doing. Some students have never been in an interview before, let alone a group interview session. And so we're there to help them practice their responses and to sort of teach them on the mannerisms, as well as the skills that are going to be necessary that they're going to have to outline in the interview so that they can be successful. And we know it might be overwhelming, especially for students who are first time in college, even our students who have had a job before and that are applying to positions that are more geared to their major. They see it as, they have that added pressure, right? Because it's closely aligned to their degree program. So we just want to make sure that they're prepared for it. And then experiential learning, our career navigator, Kathy, who's you can't see her, but she's in the room right now, has done an amazing job at organizing guest speakers to come in and talk to students about different career pathways. We do this institute-based, so we try to make sure that we cover our bases for business and public service, STEM, health and bioscience, CCAI. The guest speakers that she invites are amazing. They just have the most amazing stories. We do this once a month. We actually have our schedule posted on our website already. And everyone who is here at the end of the session, if you put your email in the chat area, I'll send you a copy of our schedule and everything that I'm covering in the PowerPoint. But the great thing about these guest speakers is that many of them share stories that are similar to our students, right? Some come from low income status backgrounds, some are first gen, some are under special population, LGBTQ plus, some are veterans. So we like to bring in diverse speakers so that our students can really connect and see the success stories. Have they had a difficult life? Yes. Have they overcome obstacles? Yes, right? We want to be able to showcase to students that they too can overcome obstacles, right? And give them sort of the tips, the tricks, the resources to do that. We also have monthly workshops. Now we understand that our guest speakers are live, they're in person, they're doing the day, but we also wanted to include our fully online students and our students who are evening students. So we offer fully online workshops that we like to spread out during the day and sometimes in the evening just to accommodate those students as well. And we have a lineup coming up this fall semester on resume, branding, and marketable skills. And then we also offer a career fair once a semester, once in the fall and once in the spring. Now we talked about jobs, right? Jobs and internships. This is important, right? Because the data and what the research shows is that students, specifically the students that are a part of our population and those we serve, who come from low socioeconomic backgrounds, rely on funding sources to be able to continue school. When I used to present to students in new student orientation, I used to tell them how important it was for me to qualify for financial aid and to be in good standing, because that made the difference whether I could afford to go to school or not, right? I also was a student employee when I was an undergraduate student. And so we know how important it is for them to have those funding sources to be able to stay in school. And so as a part of our job placement or career services, we also help oversee the student employee program, the on-campus federal work study program. We work collaboratively with financial aid and with the human resources department because we want to ensure that we're getting enough candidates who apply for this, who are aware that there's a federal work study program, what it does, who it's geared towards. And then we also help academic departments, student success departments, and college services who have openings or vacancies under the work study program to help ensure that we're meeting the fulfillment of their vacancies and helping them. And it's very important because we hear a lot of anecdotal data, right, from students who come through our office and who are so happy that they have an opportunity to go to class and then after class go and work. They don't have to travel somewhere else, right? They have an office that is dedicated towards them. And we also make, pretty good money. Starting September 1st, they're going to be making $14.37 an hour, and they can work up to 19 hours a week. And that's the maximum. 19 is the maximum, but of course we have students who sometimes need to work less because they have a higher caseload that they're registered for. So we like to make sure that we have a balance, and we're always here to support students also if they need any assistance. And we love to monitor them to see how they're doing. In fact, last year we ran a report, and what we saw is that we had a 96% persistence rate for students who were enrolled in fall, who were work studying, who transitioned to the spring semester. So we know it works. Not only that, but another highlight that I love to point out is that traditionally SAC has a higher population of students who are part-time, but traditionally our student employees take around 9 to 12 hours on average, right? So that means they're registering for more classes. They can afford to register for more classes. We also implemented an evaluation for our student employees. We want to see how they're doing. We know we always track marketable skills in the classroom. So we were like, hey, why not track
I thought this sounds loud. I wonder if Marianne can hear it.
We provided an evaluation to work study supervisors, and they were able to evaluate students on their marketable skills. And if you see on the right side bottom of the screen, there's just some preliminary data, right? And you'll be able to see that most of our student employees exceeded marketable skills. In fact, we always have supervisors who tell us, I would hire this person full time if I had a position. So that's just an example of the skills that they're getting. Also off-campus jobs. So we also help students in placement of off-campus jobs, part-time, full-time, temporary, and in internships. Our goal is to always try to get a student in a paid internship versus an unpaid internship, right? So we utilize Handshake as our official job portal. This is a portal that students can go into and understand that all the positions in this portal have been vetted, either through myself or one of the other career leads at our sister schools, because we all have access and we all utilize this portal. We also have Alamo on the Job, which is a fairly new program. It was a program that was established about a year ago. And so what this program does is we have a team in HR who helps students find paid external internships, off-campus internships that are closely aligned to the student's career pathway. So if you're a part of a FTE, CTE program, and you have a requirement of the internship or a practicum, let's talk, right? Let's meet and see how we can work together to get those students in an internship that is paid. We also have Parker Dewey, so we understand there might be students who have visa issues or students who do not have the time to have part-time or full-time employment. We also have a collaboration with Parker Dewey in which students can do short-term projects that are paid, right? Projects can range anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, and and the price that they get paid varies on the type of work in the organization, right? And all of those are vetted. Actually, Parker Dewey has an official partnership with us, with St. Philip's and with Northeast Lakeview, right? So all of that information about who we are and what we do is important and relevant to why we are talking about career readiness and competencies. We're members of NACE, which is the National Association of Colleges and Employers, and we love NACE, right? Because NACE gives us a lot of data. There's a lot of research, a lot of data tidbits that they pull out. And one thing about NACE is that when they're doing research, they are reaching out to employers in a various amount of degree pathways. It's not just one and done, right? It's various. And what they've seen, right? What are employers saying? We always want to know what employers are saying about the workforce. And so there is research done in 2019 and then in 2021. And in their research, they found what the top 8 competencies were for students to have that employers looked for, right? The top 3, I don't think is a big surprise to anyone: communication, critical thinking, and career and self-development, right? So us in career services are always looking at opportunities that students can develop these through like these top competencies to make them successful, to make them competitive in the workforce. In fact, they even survey students to see how comfortable or confident they are in these competencies. So we know that faculty are utilizing, specifically here at SAC, marketable skills, right? We try to tie student learning outcomes to that. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to sort of create this crosswalk. So you can see on the left side are the NACE competencies and the definition, and how they sort of align closely to the marketable skills, right? And so we know that in many of the syllabi, we're talking about that. So how do we incorporate that into the classroom, right? That's the big question. One thing that I think is that let's not make it too complicated. There is some easy activities that we can do in the classroom that can help students learn this and can outline the skills that are going to be important, not just in the classroom, but in work life. And it's funny because when I used to be an academic advisor and I used to meet with students and I used to talk to them about, you know, what skills do you have? What personal, professional skills do you have? And a lot of them will say, well, I don't have skills. I don't know. Or when I used to do classroom presentations to faculty, by the way, if you're a faculty member and you want me or our career navigator, who's 10 times as more engaging than me to come present, she gets very excited working with students. We can always present on career services. But I used to say to the class, who here has experience working in a team, right? And maybe I would get 1 or 2 people, but then I rephrase the question, who here has ever worked in a group project? Oh, everybody raises their hand. Who here likes a group project? You know, you get the grumbly, the mixed, the mixture of people who might like it, who might not like it. And I go, that is teamwork, right? That is a microcosm of what you're going to experience in the workforce, right? Imagine you're in a group project and you have someone who's not participating in the group project. What do you learn from that, right? Because you're going to have that in the workforce. How do you react to that? What is within your locus of control? What can you control? What can you not control? Who here has been in a group project and the same person in the group project always wants to take the lead? How do you handle that? Right? That happens in the workforce too. And they're like, oh, I do have experience working in a team. And I go, yes, you do. So here is a classroom example from the University of Michigan, Dearborn, and I love this challenge, the networking challenge. So this is a simple class assignment that can be incorporated. So students are challenged to go to an event, any event on campus of their choice, right? And in their participation of this event, they are asked to network, right? They're asked to network. And then they're asked to do an assignment about their experience networking. So what event did you choose? Why did you choose it? What did you learn from the event? How could you get better? What were your assumptions, right? Were your assumptions true? Were they correct? How does this experience help you in the road in your professional life, right? So this is a communication competency that is something that you can evaluate, right? You can evaluate this competency in a simple, sometimes we have to spell it out, right? Sometimes they're not going to know, oh, well, I'm learning communication. So the times and the opportunity that you have to spell it out, right? I like to make things easy and understandable, right? And it takes a lot. Communication is hard, right? People don't believe me, but I'm introverted. So it is hard, right? It does not come easy. And what I tell students is that if you're passionate about something, it doesn't matter if it's hard or easy, you'll do it because you're passionate about it, right? And so we see here, there's a message, we have to decode, we have to interpret, provide feedback. So it is hard, right? Communication is hard. We know that. Critical thinking. I tell students, all of you are critical thinkers. And they look at me weird and I go, who here has ever had to make a decision and weigh options? Right? And they're like, well, duh, all of us. That's critical thinking, right? There is a problem that you have to fix, and there's multiple solutions, and you have to weigh the pros and cons of the solution, and you have to make the best decision, right, from whatever your options are. That's critical thinking. In the academic program side, we see that in debate. We see that in assignments that are geared towards research papers or posters. There's some faculty on campus who do amazing. They require a research poster, and they actually have students submit the research poster for competitions. Case studies, I love case studies. Some students might not like that, but I really love it because you're giving students a problem, a real world problem, and they have to research the information and provide a solution or an outcome on the case study. I love case studies. Project-based service learning, we see that as well. Honors College does something similar with students where they have a requirement as a part of their program. And then of course, we see it in technical, seeing it in field experiences, we see that in internship, in practicum, in clinical placement. Education, although it's not a technical program, it's academic program because it's a transferable program. They require EDUC, I think it's 1301, right? Which is sort of like a field experience. So although they're not tech, so you'll see bleed in both areas. I put it this way, but that doesn't necessarily mean that when students transfer to a 4-year in an academic program, they're not going to have a required internship or medical placement, right? Career and self-development. One thing that we're hearing from employers is that the sessions that I have with employers is they're telling me, I can work with someone who doesn't have the technical skills. I can train them, but I need someone who has the passion to learn, right? Someone who is focused on developing themselves and learning about themselves. We all have that dreaded question in interviews. Give me your strengths and weaknesses. I don't think anybody, doesn't matter how long you've been in your career, I don't think anyone really likes the question, And it's really not even about the answer, right? I don't really think that they care about what your specific strength and weakness is. I think the question is focused on whether you're self-aware, right? Do you have an understanding of what your limitations are? Are you working towards improving those limitations or those weaknesses? I don't like to call it a weakness, but it's an opportunity for improvement. So are you self-aware? Are our students self-aware of where they need to improve, right? And how are we helping them understand that they need to constantly develop? Yes, coming to school, they are working towards their education and developing themselves, they're academically, but also personally and professionally, right? Sometimes I think myself included, I think I want to be able to tell them it's not just about what you're doing academically, but personally, it's what the personal skills that you're learning in the classroom, right? And so, of course, that's what the Student Enrichment Center is for. This is why we do career workshops. That's why we bring in guest speakers. We're here to help students, guide them, right? A lot of faculty require e-portfolios or e-lumens because the skill of a student in their first day of their first semester looks a lot different than their last class on the last day of their last semester, right? So we want to be able for them to see the progression, and that's why e-portfolios are extremely important. Also, they're important because when students are writing cover letters and they're writing their resume, sometimes we don't always remember what happened, what award we got, what committee we sat on, what project we did. So this is a good sort of way for them to help keep them on track. Some programs don't require a portfolio, but LinkedIn Learning, oh my goodness, LinkedIn Learning has exploded. It is on the scene. So students are able to, similar to an e-portfolio, are able to sort of highlight their accomplishments. They're able to network, to build their networks outside of just their community, but globally. We highly recommend to students to start building on their LinkedIn Learning profile. There's also an amazing part of LinkedIn Learning where they can click it and it will let recruiters or headhunters know that they're looking for positions. Alamo Experience. So we have a non-academic co-curricular transcript that we call Alamo Experience. Ourselves, Student Life, and other organizations on campus are a part of Alamo Experience. What we do is we are able to give students credit for attendance for coming to our events. We also have an option on Alamo Experience for students to be able to document and log in their experiential learning once it's been approved by myself or someone on my team. Faculty can also, if faculty or academic departments are doing experiential learning, and we know they are, right? We know who they are. There's an option for them, a form that they can fill out so that our department can review and provide credit to students on their co-curricular transcript for that experiential learning. And then we also have Grow with Google, which Grow with Google is a collaboration between Google and HAKU, which is the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities. What Google sort of understood by some of the data and the research is that there is a lot of students, especially first year, first gen students, who don't have the digital skills necessary to be successful, right? And to go into progressive degrees. And so in order to eliminate some of that digital divide, is they started collaborating with a lot of Hispanic serving institutions, and we just so happen to be one who was awarded that. So we're able to provide free Google modules in the 5 sort of areas that you see on the screen, completely free to students, staff, or faculty. What I recommend to faculty is if you are covering any of these topic areas, especially if you're a student development or EDUC professor, incorporate this module into your curriculum, right? Because once students go through the modules and they pass the sort of the exam or the learning assessment, a part of it, they're able to print out and receive a certificate from Google, right? That's a way for you to be able to track that they're working on and completing it. And then that's also something that can go into their portfolio, right? Which is very important. A lot of Google certificates are sought after by organizations and corporations. So if you're a faculty or staff member, you're also able to access. So if you want to take a look at the site before you start building into your curriculum, please feel free to. And I'm gonna give everyone information on how to access everything. I'll give you a copy of the PowerPoint. So how do faculty, how do staff, how do people become career champions, right? And so these are some simple steps. Contact us, contact the Student Enrichment Center so that we can provide a classroom presentation to your students about all of the amazing opportunities that we have on campus, right? Bring your classroom to our events, right? We have some SDEV or EDUC faculty who have brought in their whole classrooms to some of our guest speakers, and our guest speakers love it, right? All the guest speakers that we have come free of charge. They're doing it because they love the community. They want to talk to the students, and so we would love to have a big crowd for them. If you can't bring your classroom, think about providing extra credit for them coming into one of our guest speaker events. We track every student that comes to our events and we provide them credit, and we can always provide a roster to a faculty member if you want to utilize or provide documentation for the student to be able to turn in for extra credit. Incorporate the career Google modules into your curriculum, right? So maybe you don't have time built in to bring in a classroom, but you want that, maybe you're teaching a fully online class. The Google modules is the perfect thing because they don't have to ever come on campus. They can work on it from home. Utilize Career Coach for career exploration. So the Alamo Colleges District pays for a Career Coach. It's a free resource. We love it at the Student Enrichment Center because students can take anywhere from a 6-question to a 30-question plus career assessment, personality assessment, and can help us guide them in the conversation. Recommend students for those one-on-one appointments that we talked about, right? Some of you may be talking or mentoring students and they're like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I lost my job. I need my job to pay for school. Send them to us. Some of them may need to find an internship. Send them to us, right? Promote our department flyers in our social media page. We have a social media page. In our social media page, not only do we highlight the students who have received positions after a one-on-one, but that's where we put a lot of our individual event flyers. We also highlight hot jobs, or we highlight jobs that are in demand, who have really good benefits and who pay well, right? Especially for associate's level students, degree seeking students. And then submit your experiential learning activity form so that you can give credit to your students for the experiential learning that happens in the classroom. All right. I know I'm stopping you from lunch, right? This is the last presentation before lunch, but I want to open it up to any questions that any of you might have. If you want to just unmute yourself, any questions that you might have about the Student Enrichment Center, or if you ever want to set up a meeting, we can talk about how we can tie everything together. But any questions?
Yes,